Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of The Clueless Capitalist, where we discuss interesting startups, interview founders, and help you become less clueless with angel investing. My name is Arasi.
And my name's Osman, and together we're The Clueless Capitalists.
So we all know India to be among the top two most populous countries in the world. And in fact, according to the Pew Research Center, next year in 2023, India is going to overtake China as the world's most populous nation. And one thing I think most of us are not aware of is that India also has a very huge aging population. So there are over 131 million people living in India who are aged above 60. And this number is going to grow quite rapidly over the coming years. And when we think about this aging population, we know India is a big country. Lots of children of these aging parents, they live and study in bigger cities within India. And when you look at it from a global context, they are working abroad, they are studying abroad, and makes it challenging for them to be able to tend to the emotional, personal, and even healthcare needs of their parents, considering that they're so far away from them. And that's where we have 60PlusIndia, which is developing a platform and an app and a service that is helping this aging population and the children of this aging population to deal with their personal healthcare and emotional needs. So we have Arasi Arul today joining us. She is the founder and CEO of 60PlusIndia, and she is a serial entrepreneur herself and also the Tamil youth icon of 2012. So thank you, Arasi, for joining us for this particular episode.
Thanks Osman and Razi for inviting me here. It's such a honor. I am Arasi Arul. I am from Chennai and I run this company called 60PlusIndia. 60PlusIndia is end-to-end parent management technology platform. And we kind of serve the 131 million senior citizen population in India. These senior citizen population who are alone without their children are our main targets, and we help them in their emotional, their personal, the healthcare, and the data management needs of this huge senior citizen population in India. And so in May 2021, Raj from Texas, Austin reached out to us to help his parents back here in India. And his father, who was affected with COVID, was in the isolation ward, and his mother was home alone and depressed. They've been married for 45 years, and she was just scared and depressed that she's going to lose her husband. And when Raj from Texas, Austin called, we put a nurse with the father in the COVID ward and a companion with the mother and helped this old couple communicate daily via video calls. Their reunion after 15 days was one of the most emotional moments 60PlusIndia went through. And so 60PlusIndia is a company which helps NRI, that is non-residing Indians like Raj, and the parents who are in India who are alone, be happy, be well taken care of, and people like Raj are like little less worried than they have to be. And that is 60PlusIndia for you. India is the second highest migrating population in the world after China, and it also has a huge number of senior citizen population. In fact, in the south of India, there is a negative growth population. And we also say that by 2031, there is going to be a 41% increase in the senior citizen population. And so what happens is these senior citizens are alone because of the constant migration which is happening in India. And this creates two huge problems. The first is these senior citizens are alone and they are in constant need of help. They are always looking for people to help them. And these children who are migrated like Raj are always in guilt, and they're looking for vetted, verified and trained service providers to help their parents back home. And this is the gap that 60PlusIndia is filling. 60PlusIndia works as an aggregator, and we connect these children who want to help their parents with trained, vetted, verified service providers. And we do this with our online platform. And we cover 4 main categories. we cover the personal care. And so in the personal care, there are services which is as simple as getting the CCTV fixed in their house, paying their EV bill, the electricity bill, or taking them out for a walking, and all these covered in simple everyday requirements of these senior citizens are covered in the personal care. With the emotional care, where there are absolutely no players, we take care of the psychological needs of these senior citizens. We send travel companions, we send reading companions, we send talking companions. These senior citizens are alone 24/7 and they require some kind of emotional help, and 60 Plus does that. And of course, Healthcare India and the south of India is very, very good in their healthcare sector. We have a good number of doctors. And so, we could say that we have one doctor for every 400 patients in Tamil Nadu, and we have one doctor for every 700 patients in the rest of the South Indian states. This might sound very less, but then that's actually very good compared to the many states in the north of India. And so our healthcare sector and the healthcare services in the south of India is very well defined. There are enough hospitals, there are enough doctors who could take care, but still 60 Plus India also provides home healthcare services and allied healthcare services for the senior citizens. And this is one of the main products which these children like Raj reach out to us on an everyday basis. And the fourth and the main part that we are concentrating now is the data management. What we do with data management is, like say, Razi, you're taking your father or mother to a doctor, and when the doctor asks what is the medicine your mother is taking, you wouldn't know. Like none of us would know. And so we want to bring in this data management where the medical data, the personal data, everything is kept for or is maintained and kept for the senior citizens so that they could use it and the children could use it. And this is where I want to just give you one small incident why we started this. We had an elderly couple in their 70s. In fact, their children were in India, but in a different, in Chennai itself, but they were in a different city. And the grandfather was hospitalized for an operation and the grandmother became ill. When they opened the patient for operation in the hospital, that is when they realized the grandfather was in blood thinners. Except the grandmother, none of them knew the grandfather's medicine and what they were taken for. And so this is when we realized we need to create a system for these senior citizens to take care of their medical data management and the personal data management, as well as the children will know, or the grandchildren will know, or even the other spouse will know what they're taking and why they're taking. And so 60 Plus India is working on these four very important sectors for senior citizens. And also, we are the only platform which is selling geriatric products and giving services for senior citizens. Our go-to-marketing strategy is very simple. Of course, we are going to go in the social media sector, but apart from it, we have created a community. We want to create a community pan-India, but right now we have a community in Tamil Nadu and Kerala. And these places where all the senior citizens can meet and discuss and talk and thus even promote our company. Apart from it, we are having expert ambassadors, referral programs, influencers, and hospital and doctors tie-up has actually helped us a lot, and we are planning to expand it to pan-India. The first question everyone asks is about the quality control. And what we do is, for the vetting, verification, and the training purposes, we go through two major quality control, and this is done continuously. This is not like a one-time process. So we start with the psychometric analysis after the registration of these service providers, and then we do a police verification. And after the police verification, whenever the service provider goes to a customer's house, we start getting feedback, we train them, and then we have rating as well. And so this actually helps in a consistent quality control for these service providers. And this is our hugest USP, that these customers come back to us again and again. And we've been doing very well. We've been up and running since March 2021. And we have a 30% profit rate. We have done sales like around $200,000 till date. And we have more than 1,500 customers till date. And our vendors number has also increased. what we are looking at is we were looking into 10x growth in the next 1 year. That is because we've been ideally operating in one city officially, but we've done services in almost 12 cities and towns all over India unofficially. And going forward, we already started in 2 cities this month, and we'll be opening by 10 cities by March 2023. And so we will increase our sales growth by 10x. Our team is of the founders. This is a team of the founders, and all the 3 of us are from the same college. Oli is my brother and Vivek is my college junior, and we have started companies together in the past. We have experience in the healthcare and the e-com sector, and which gives us a huge advantage over the other competition, so that we do know how to take care of the technology part of the company as well as run the e-com and health sector aggregator company. Our ask is $500,000, and with this, we'll be strengthening our tech team and expanding into a new market, which I already spoke a little before. Thank you. Yeah. And so to talk about the experience in 60 Plus in the last 1 year has been overwhelming. And even day before yesterday, we kind of helped a senior citizen couple who was going through a bypass. And the review the wife has left in a Google form, literally brought us all in tears, We kind of helped so many people. We've changed lives of so many people. And I think that is what we are looking at in an investor too, someone who wants to help change many lives, someone who is actually looking for the karma circle. We've been doing that, and actually helping them and also making money has been really good about, we feel good about it.
Thank you for sharing the pitch deck. One thing that I am not still very clear about is, what is the origin story? Looking at you, your brother and your other co-founder, and you have so much entrepreneurial experience. I'm just curious to know what was the origin story of 60 Plus India? Yeah.
And so the origin was during the first wave of COVID virus. And many of my friends, I'm the one person, or my brother, both of us are people who are connected with all our UGs and PGs and school friends, and we are in Chennai and everyone else is out. Literally, I have a class strength of 70 in my engineering, and only 3 of us are in Chennai. The rest of all are outside India. And so I'm in literally touch with my juniors and seniors and my whole class from engineering, and 95% of them being abroad. During COVID, literally 50 of my friends just reached out to me in the month of May 2021 to help their parents in India, not only in Chennai, but all over India. And my house is like an old age home. All my cousins are abroad. And the Indian system, we have a huge joint family. I have 4 uncles and aunts from my paternal side, and another 3 and 4 from my mom's side. So everyone is abroad. All my cousins are abroad. I have to take care of 3 sets of grandparents and parents and uncles and aunts. And so we actually personally know the problem of how to handle, or what are the difficulties of having a senior citizen at home. Uli and I, both of us know that. And when a lot of these friends reached out to us, we realized that this is actually a problem which we faced ourselves. We know what are the difficulties and how very unorganized this whole healthcare sector and the helping sector for the senior citizen is. And so we wanted to organize this unorganized market. This was our first thought. And then because of our background of having other companies, by August 2020, we were having a website up and running. And so we had in 2 months' time, we had a basic website up and running at 60 Plus India. And then we pivoted a lot. We started with products, and then we added each services. And then with every customer, we had different experiences. And then we kept adding new, sectors to it. And recently, there was this customer who called me up, and he told me that he wants someone to take his parents for walking every day. We do the walking companion services twice a week. Okay, because it actually works out costly. You have to get someone from one point of the city to go to the other point of city, take them out for a walk near the park where they live, and come back. And so we do it only twice a week. And then he told me, how much is the cost? I don't care. Just send someone to take both my parents for walking every day. And this part of the location he asked this was in Bangalore. And this was not even in the main part of Bangalore. It was nearly 40 kilometers outside Bangalore. And that's when we realized that this kind of network is not going to work. This was one of the pivots we had. And so what we created a buddy system for college students, senior citizens. And that actually worked a lot. It was much cheaper than our regular manpower, and it actually worked a lot, and we are trying to implement it full-fledged with our mobile app by September, October. So now we connect college students, primarily nursing college students and physiotherapy college students, with senior citizens for these daily activities like grocery shopping, taking them to the hospital, sitting and talking to them, reading a book. And so the empathy quotient is much higher for the nursing students and the physiotherapy students than our regular students who's doing us BSc or BCom. And so we've been trying this, and it's been such a huge success. And the rates, our profit percentage became 150%. And the amount the customer pays has reduced by 60%. So that is the amount of difference we got with this buddy system. And so we are introducing this now. So with each customer and each experience, we kind of pivoted. And now I think this pivoting is going to happen lifelong. But right now, this is one of the new additions we have in our company.
Okay, I mean, I like the idea of pivoting, and me and Arasi were talking about this with regards to another company where they pivoted, but they were pivoting so much and so far from what their original idea was that they may as well just said we're starting a whole new company. When I hear about pivots, these ones are good because you're picking items which are within your current scope anyway. The only question I really want to ask here is, when you're pivoting and you're listening to customer demands, how do you make sure that you're prioritizing a correct request? Because you're going to come across 1,000 people with 1,000 parents, and they'll all have 1,000 different requests that won't all be exactly the same. How are you managing that level of complexity and making sure you're pivoting in the correct manner and not just reacting to everybody's demand?
Absolutely. See, this is a very good question we keep asking ourselves, and we've said no to, like, say, 1,000 requests, and we have taken, like, say, 2 requests which actually make sense. And in fact, they asked us for a walking companion which we already had, and we wanted to find a solution when we couldn't do it for a particular place. And so that is how the college buddy system came up. This was not a pivot. This was a pivot in the back end. It was not a pivot in the front end. We have lots of requests for cooks. We have a lot of requests for housemaids. We don't do that because that is not what we are here for. We are here for a personal care. We are here for short-term cares, for someone to sit, and we do art therapy. We do pet walking. We take a pet to a senior citizen for them to play with. These are some things we do in the emotional sector. We are very clear about the sectors. We don't pivot to every request, but we try to, if there are requests which actually make sense, we try to address them in a way that it actually helps the expansion of the business. Rather than, as a business itself, we don't pivot, but we pivot at the back end to accommodate few things for our already existing sectors.
Okay. So just for the viewers at home, when we talk about pivots, this is a common term that's used, and it's widely used in the startup sector, where you start off with an idea, you test it, you say that there's a product market fit, and if there isn't a product market fit, you're noticing something not working, you identify what is in demand in reality and you pivot to that. Now, yes, that could mean, for example, we talked to Arfin from MedEasy. He started off with telehealth, and he noticed that there was a requirement for people to have prescriptions, and that became his major request. And he eventually realized that he can keep his telehealth, but the prescription service was the one that was actually generating a lot of retention in customers. So that's where he pivoted. Still in healthcare, still doing. That's what pivoting should be. So that's the benefit of the viewers. And
absolutely, I understand what you're saying, and that's the pivot we had is for getting the students is because we are getting more revenue. Our revenue increased by 150%, and the customers are also spending less. They are also happy, and our expansion has become tremendous. We are able to reach every corner of the South. Because, ideally, if I had to send for this X place, which is 300 kilometers from Chennai, it would have been difficult for me to find someone to do it twice a week. But right now, there is college there are students there. It's just made my life much more easier. The business has become much more regularized to do it. And also, then again, maybe a pivot is the wrong word. One other change we made is, instead of all the students, we went into only nursing college students. We went to only physiotherapy students. We went to paramedical students. And so this way, again, the emotional quotient is much higher than other students. And so these are the changes we made. And so that actually helped us in our revenue. It is helping us in getting more customers in this sectors. And because no one is actually playing in this sector. There literally no one who's sent someone to sit and talk with the senior citizen parents in India.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, and the other example that we saw, there is a fine line between pivoting and just randomly reacting. The other example that we saw where somebody said this isn't a pivot was when you get so many requests and all you're doing is you end up becoming an IT outsourcing company for the people that are requesting it. You're no longer running your business, you're running an IT outsourcing kind of capability. So I really like what you've done. You've focused on what you're doing and you're pivoting to look at the demand that's coming from your user base, which is great.
Absolutely, I agree what you say. We cannot go for the whims and fancies of every single customer who comes in. We get so many requests for nursing service without a prescription, and we can't do that. We get so many requests for cooks. We have so many requests for live-in maids. We have requests for a lot of services which we don't do, and we definitely say a no.
Okay, great.
I'm curious to know, what is the average cost for an individual to get their parent one of the services?
The cost is very, very variable. It changes from city to city. What I'm going to give you is a ballpark for, I would say, Kerala, Cochin. And so the Cochin ballpark for a nurse is around $300. For a month, a nurse to stay in their parents' house for a month and take care of their daily activities for parents in Kerala and Cochin, which has highest number of population to the Middle East, it's around $300. Whereas the same in Bangalore, it goes to around $600 to $700. And the same in Chennai is around $400 to $450. Sometimes you get for cheaper, sometimes you get for a little bit costlier. And in Bombay, we've sent now the same rates as in Bangalore. It goes between from $500 to even $1,000 in Bombay. And so the rates actually vary from city to city and the service to service.
Yeah. I mean, like you mentioned, right, I could have a service like going there and installing a CCTV to monitor my parents. So that's a one-off service. But what the examples you've given are more long-term, on a monthly kind of a base, almost a retainer service. Yeah.
Yes. The single services, we don't charge for the visit. It's usually and this is a very customized service. No one is doing it. We do something called the Making Home Senior Friendly. It starts at 9,500 rupees and it goes to around 50,000 rupees. And so with 9,500 rupees, we go to the house, we see what they need, the senior citizens need. We install the CCTVs or toilet seat risers or motion sensor lights. These are the examples. We actually sit and talk with the parents and the children together in a video call or a phone call, and we understand the problems they have. Anti-slip mats, grab bars, toilet seat risers, video calling bells. It just depends on what is the requirement. The basic one, which starts with 9,500, is the grab bars, the anti-slip mats, and 1 or 2 CCTV depending on the house.
Okay.
And what we do is we give the CCTV access to the kids who are living abroad, and we make sure that they can install it on their phone and take care of their parents, look at their parents' CCTV and talk to them and all of those things. The Making Home Senior Friendly has been very, very famous. We get almost all the calls only for the healthcare services. There is children who are living abroad, they know that they need healthcare services. They know they need a doctor. They know they need a nurse or a blood test or a home X-ray. Or we've sent a sonologist to get the hair checked for a 90-year-old grandma in a village in Tamil Nadu and fix it. And the grandchild who actually reached out to us was so happy with our service. She is the vice president of PricewaterhouseCoopers strategy division in the US. She said she's going to invest $100,000 on us. So that is like what happened. And for that service, only the cost per earpiece we kind of charged. And that again varies upon the quality of the earpiece, hearing audacities, the number and all those things. So things like that, with the rates for the individual services vary a lot.
But from my own understanding, you've got all these services. What's the current breakdown in terms of take-up of these services? For example, doctor, nurse, physiotherapist. What's the most popular product? What's the least popular, etc., etc.? I mean, and where do you see that going moving forward?
Okay, I'm going to answer this question in two parts. Okay, and so the first part is, like I previously mentioned, almost 100% of the calls we get or the requests we get online is for healthcare services. And we upsell and cross-sell nearly 70% of the calls with our emotional or personal care services. Once these customers know that there is a personal care service, there's someone to take their father for a doctor or someone who could go get the food for their parents every day, they kind of use it because they want their parents to be comfortable. And so that's what happens. And so this is like the entry point is always the healthcare, and then they go to the other services. That's one part of the question. And so the second part of the question is, we really don't have any services which people don't pick. In the healthcare, we just have 4 services right now: the doctor, the nurse, the physiotherapy, and the attendant. And so these are the 4 services whom we have service providers of right in our list, in the back end list. And so you pick up any cities or state, and we don't do we work like Grab, you go into the app and you say that I want food from this place, and we don't say that we're going to give you the food immediately, or we don't say we're going to send the nurse immediately. We have a 24 hours turnover time. And then we send these, either of the 4 people, we already have a database of more than 500, 600 clients all over the south of India whom we can send immediately. But if there is a different request, you need a home X-ray, or sometimes they ask us for a home ophthalmologist who can come and see their grandparent at home and give them a prescribed power glasses. That is the case, and then we tell our turnaround time is 2 days. And then we reach out to our contacts, we reach out to our networks, we get in this person and send them home. If it answered, our popular services are the 4 which has been regularly used. We really don't have any unpopular services which we have in our database.
Okay. If I was to say the one that's most profitable for you, I mean, in terms of service, which one would it be?
The most profitable has been in the healthcare sector, has been the blood test, the hearing aid fixing, the eye power glasses fixing, all these one-time services which goes on rarely. We have more than 50 to 80% profit percentage on them. And the rest, we have a flat 30% profit rate. This is on the commission side. But we do have a service fee, which is a 10% service fee. And from September, we are going to start a subscription as well. And so our profit percentage actually increases a little bit from September.
Okay. My other question when you were talking about this, and all the people that come in are usually contacting you because they want healthcare services. The main question I have is, how are people finding out about you? Is it through your proactive marketing campaign? Is it people just Googling and finding something where you've got search engine optimization? How is that working for you?
Until February of 2021. That is from March 2020, when 2021 to February 2022, we didn't do any kind of marketing. We were only biting what we could chew. It was just the three of us running the whole show. And all our customers, all the 1,000 plus customers were through referrals. And so friends of friends, families, and they kind of referred. In fact, we got a customer in 2020 during our trial period. We had a customer from Texas, and he actually referred. And then from Texas, Austin, we got 17 customers till date. It's just a small community, and they keep talking, and everyone talks about their parents, and then they talk about how we help them. And so in the last 1 year, we've got 17 persons from only Texas, Austin, that too just as referrals. And only starting March, April, we started doing offline ads. And so right now, our SEO and our referral rate is like around 50%. And like around 30% of our customers come through our social media marketing ads. And the rest of the 20% come through, like I met Razi, and Razi has a friend. And I wouldn't even say Razi is a referral customer for me. He was more of a investor. He was more someone who just heard about me. And I would say instead of the offline marketing, we do the online marketing as well, right? And so we get the rest of the 20% from that. We've been putting up stalls everywhere. We've been going for meetings. We've been going on giving out brochures. We went on radio and TV here in India. We went on YouTube channels for giving interviews. So those were the ones we kind of got the rest of them.
Yeah. I mean, and this is what I would have expected. I think the original, the network and the problem statement is very acute. You can see that. I myself had a conversation literally the other day with somebody who'd returned from India. Their parents have been diagnosed with dementia. They're now really worried about what they do with their parents while they're here in Singapore. How do they manage that? And it just came up in conversation. Have you heard of 60 Plus? And that's exactly what they're crying out for. So definitely a market demand, definitely a capability where you could just really not cope with the amount of organic growth that you'd get just from people's word of mouth referrals. My immediate question is that for markets which have already got a large proportion of elderly, like places like Japan, when we talk about demographics of old people, an aging population, have you looked at what they're doing and the things that they're doing refer to what you're trying to do in India?
Yes, I've done the research. What happened is culturally things are different in very fast aging countries in the Southeast, say Japan or Singapore or Malaysia or China, where the culture is that when they have a lot of government. Okay, first thing is the insurance of the government. The second is the government policy for senior citizens, healthcare and taking care of senior citizens, all that. So apart from that, as a culture, in Indian culture, it is not really okay to put your parents in old age home. Whereas in a culture in Japan, they are from small age. They know that the parents, like the grandparents and parents, are going to go to an old age home, or they could live in a retirement house. Let's not say old age home, but a retirement house rather. But in the Indian culture, that's a taboo word. You don't say that I'm going to put my parents in the retirement home when they become old or when I leave abroad. It's absolutely not heard to be talking about it now in Indian culture. And so that is where the huge difference between the fast aging South Asian countries and India differs. You couldn't do the same in Sri Lanka. I'm sure you couldn't do the same in Pakistan or Bangladesh or, the immediate countries which surrounds India, which has the same cultural value. You don't it's a huge population where you live in the same roof with your grandparents and parents and aunts and uncles, and you really don't do that. And so that is the first main difference. And the second main part is because of that difference, we are not able to replicate what is happening in Japan or China or Singapore, for instance, to here in India. And the second main reason is the insurance, which I spoke about earlier. And so these kids, they know that the government is taking care of their parents, or that is a senior citizen terms which the government is going to give money every month, or they have free housing services or free healthcare services policies for the senior citizens, that is not available in India. Insurance itself is very unheard of. Do you know, like only 7% of the population has health insurance? And I'm saying that is for senior citizens, I mean. Only 7% of the senior citizens has health insurance. So with these problems, we are not able to replicate what is happening in Japan here. But we have got few products from Japan to India for senior citizens. We've got some few products in our website, and even otherwise, we have some products like the car swirl seats. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's just a round seat which you put in the car, which helps you turn around. And so senior citizens don't have to struggle getting up and down.
Yeah.
And there are a few products for changing the diapers. We've got these products from Japan actually to start selling here, and it's actually going well.
Okay.
And so we were able to replicate a few products, but not the way the services are done there.
Yeah. The other question I was going to ask when I heard about your product and capability was, we have these home care services in the UK, but we're also seeing news reports of, the person turning up at home and money's going missing, items going missing in the household, and then they've eventually found out that it's the home care visitor that's doing that. How are you handling that component of trust and care?
This is one question which actually stuck in my head for like a whole month before I wanted to start 60 Plus India. Because the minute I decided I will start something for the senior citizen, this was a question because I love my grandpa, and the whole reason this company is here because I've seen him struggle being alone. And then after one point of time, he started staying with me. And every time we figure out or we find a person or a nurse to stay with him, we kind of worry about his safety, what is going to happen. He lives in a separate house, and so we installed CCTVs to make sure that with all this and we staying in the house right next to him, we've had issues. And so this is one concern which I've always wanted to address. And thus we kind of created these few steps, which I actually talked in my pitch deck. The first is a psychometric analysis. And so when someone actually applies for a nursing job or an attender job, to be associated with us, because we work as an aggregator, that is one problem, because if I have an employee, then I know who he is or what he does or where he lives, and I have full control about it. But when I'm working as an aggregator, this problem which you said arises a lot. So the first part is to be in my aggregating platform, this person has to go through a psychometric analysis test. And this test is very proprietary for us. We have done it in a way that we understand the emotion quotient, his compassion, his honesty, and those parts in the question. And after that, when people don't pass it, we don't even take them. And the people who pass it, we go on for a police verification. And so in India, particularly Tamil Nadu and Kerala, the government, police, the department has a website and a mobile app where I can pay 100, 200 rupees and get a police verification certificate for each person, which is a police actually visits them in the house and then verifies that they live there. This is who their parents are, this is who their neighbors are, and this is this guy. He doesn't have any other FIR or any criminal certificates on him or previously, and then they give us it. And so almost 90% of our aggregator people are police verified. And so with these two, major of a worry is reduced. After that, what happens is we kind of every time we call a senior citizen, we tell them that this person is coming, and if it's a long-term service of more than 1 or 2 months, we insist on getting the CCTV put up so that at least their children know, even the workers who go there know there's a CCTV there, and we can, they are always on the watch. After all this, we go on, we call up after, like say a nurse leaves after giving an injection. We call up the senior citizen and tell them, if this nurse is coming back again and knocking the door, telling I left my phone back or I left my bag back in your house, please open the door. Do not open the door. Or if they reach you again, like say you're going on walking or you're shopping in your local flea market or a vegetable shop, and this guy comes and he says, hello ma'am, you remember me? I came to your house to give you injection last week. How are you doing? Shall I help you carry the bag? Say no to that. And so we kind of give all these instructions very clearly to both the parents and the children, so that we these are the only things we could do. In fact, beyond that, it's out of our control. But this has worked so well so far.
Okay.
And we also give clear instructions to these senior citizens when there is a long-term stay that do not keep jewelry at home, do not keep cash at home, put it up in the bank. So these are a few instructions we give.
Okay, no, and that's a good point, because that leads on to my next question really. With aggregator services that we've seen here in Singapore, I've used them for house cleaning and things like that, and nearly every time I've noticed that the person who's turning up will say, hey, I can come directly to you, right, rather than using the service and you paying a service fee. Come directly to me, and I've always turned it down because I felt I wouldn't have a right of recourse if something went wrong, right? But the temptation is there, both for the provider and for the consumer, to say, hey, maybe I can save some money. I like this person, and it's easy to do that. Are you seeing any of that, and how are you managing to keep track of that, to stop that from happening?
Yes. And so this is another question which I was trying to figure out the answer, and I kind of did. And so what we do is we go in, these aggregators or these individual service providers are all associated with one manpower agency. And so I am in connect with the manpower agency, and like I am this golden egg laying goose. And so these manpower agencies as an individual agency would probably get 5 to 7 services a month, but I give them 5 to 7 services a week. Sometimes I give them 10 to 20 services a week. And so if they actually bypass me with any of the services they do, they wouldn't get the other services I give them. Because we are regularly in touch with the customers. We ask for feedbacks, we send other details, we ask them, do you want a nurse now? We ask them, how was the injection? Is the injection again going to be given next week? We kind of keep in touch with the customer and their children and all that. And so one point of time when we know that there's another nurse there, and if we know it is from this agency, we don't use them again. We've done it to 2 or 3 other agencies already.
Okay.
And that is one part of the answer. The second part of the answer is the children like us. We kind of develop a personal relationship with the children and the parents. And if you read any of your reviews, if you read any of the reviews they've given us, they call us by name. They say, Deva has been very good with us, Arasi has been very good with us, or Shri has been very good with us. And so there is a relationship which we develop. We become like a part of the family, and we kind of do a lot of other services for them instead of just sending a nurse. Okay. So they want to go to a hospital, we would send someone. If they want a grocery to be delivered, we send someone. And so ours is holistic service rather than single service. And so the children, even though they know it's costlier, they kind of stick with us. But of course, there are few customers who left, but they are not my long-term customers. So I'm really not sticking with that.
It's interesting that you mentioned that, because I was reading the Google reviews, and people they were talking about how it's both a professional service and also a very personal service, and they kept so it's very much in alignment with what you're saying. So
because that's absolutely true. I literally, all our customers, one of our staff, or either me or Oli or Vivek, one of us know everything about their family. All the 1,000 customers, it's either the 3 of us or the staffs whom I have right now, the 4 of them in the outside room. All the 7 of us know everything about the 1,000 plus customers whom we have already. Who their children are, where they are, what these parents like, when is their birthdays, we call them and wish them up, we send them chocolates, and so it's more like a family. So that is the culture which I want to increase with 60 Plus.
Got it. And then the question I'm having is, so when we look at the Indian diaspora, right? I mean, we have a big population in the US, in the UAE, in Canada, in Saudi Arabia. So the question then is, at which point will you feel that it's time to bring 60 plus or to market 60 plus a lot more aggressively in those markets? Like, what's stopping you from like taking out, like you mentioned, the social media ads or the offline ads? What's stopping you from taking out more of that in those markets to start attracting that NRI clientele with the pattern back home?
Things. One is I need a bigger team. Right now, I have a set of freshers whom we are hand-holding in a lot of sectors. And so right now I'm trying to hire a little more of experienced team to do this. And the second is we need a little more money for the marketing part for the NRIs, because we have a whole list. I just have one big board here which says the whole marketing plan for New York in the next 3 months. And then for that, we need someone in New York, and we need to spend more money because New York or New Jersey is one point, or where there are a lot of Indian customers. Then we have identified like 10 cities like that all over the world. And then for that, we need a little more money. And also, interestingly, when you're talking about this, and so answer your question, I need a much more stronger team and I need a little more money. And we are starting with, we already have this program where we have 7 clients who actually spend nearly $7,000 to $10,000 every month with them. Okay, and so these are the complete parent management customers. We do everything for their parents here in India. All these 7 kids are abroad, and all the 7 parents are here in India, and they are with an ailment, cancer, dementia, kidney transplantation, liver transplantation, severe arthritis, but they can't move. And so we have all the 7 customers who are living abroad, whose parents have some kind of ailment, and we do the complete parent management, right from the payment of the paper guy who comes in the morning till the food they eat in the night. We do everything. We take care of everything for them. This is whom we want to concentrate. And so we want to have at least 1,000 customers from abroad, 100 customers for each ailment by March 2023, so that we increase our revenue 10-fold very easily.
Sorry, you're saying $7,000 to $10,000 or
month? Dollars per month.
Okay, and this is each of these 7. So in total, collectively, about $70,000 per month. That's
like, let's say, from as little as $7,000 to $70,000 to $100,000. But that varies, like not everyone came last year. Last March, there was one customer, and then there was a customer who came in August. There was one customer in December. And so, it's a cycle, right? It's not all of them came last year in March.
Yeah.
One thing which I want to do is I want to become a B2B company as well. And so I want to go to Microsoft and tell them, like, listen, you have like so many, like 30% of your employees are from India, and all of them have come to US or in different parts, and their parents are back home, and these are spending hundreds of hours over the phone trying to do things for their parents. And so here, take like say $1,000 of a product. You pay me $1,000 and give this package to your staff, so that if they want someone to take their parents for a doctor, or if there's any case of other help they need, they can just use us. And so we want to be a B2B company, because imagine Google or Facebook or Tesla or Microsoft or any company which is in the US or abroad, they have like nearly 30% of the Indian employees, and literally every one of them are our target audience. They get paid well. They are in between the 35 and 55 age group. Their parents are in India, who are the age group which we can serve. And so all that is something which I want to do it like, but I want to start it within the next 2 years, because right now we have a very good presence in the south of India, but we need to be in the north of India as well to go to Microsoft and tell that, hey, we can do this for you. And so that is another thing which I want to do in the future. And so like say 2 years down the lane, by 2025, I need to have this pakka and planned and start working.
So it becomes like an employee benefit, part of the employee benefits. Yeah, that's interesting.
I really like the idea of the B2B component. The other aspect could be that you could partner with insurance companies that are providing health insurance or the like, so that it becomes part of the value-add services that they provide as part of their package as well. Definitely there's huge potential for this for this business. In fact,
Yes.
just speaking to people, personally speaking, living in Singapore with my mum in the UK, I can see the demand for this for sure. There's no doubt.
Yeah. And also the reason I wanted to B2B and also include the insurance is I was running a coffee shop between 2009 and 2013. I got investment and I gave out like 4 franchises and I sold off my company. And during the coffee shop time, I found difficulty in getting waiters and servers. And so I had this training institution which I've turned into this non-profit company, right? And so in the training institution, I started a training program for waiters and servers. I was actually making more money in my training institution, training these 12th standard slum boys and girls and placing them in different coffee shops than in my coffee shop. It was just a business which I created to satisfy my need, and then it became like a huge success. I was making very good money by giving this training to these people and then placing them in different coffee shops. Government of India had a plan where I have to give a training for free and they gave me the money. And so I was making money all sides. I was getting money for training and then I was placing them and I was getting money for that. So this B2B part is also the similar, no? Try to get the insurance for them, try to do everything for them and then give it and then make money. And so that is how I got the idea here in 60Plus.
Yeah. So you've all worked in different companies, you've all founded other companies as well. But what lessons have you learned from those that you're bringing to 60Plus?
Okay, that's great. And so from my coffee shop, I learned how I should interact with customers one-to-one, because I was not a hotelier student or any, I had nothing to do with hotel industry, but I started a coffee shop and it was a huge success, and my one-to-one interaction is what helped build my company, and that I used it in 60Plus. Uli and Vivek ran Shycart, and Shycart, then in India there was no permission to run ads for condoms or sexual products. And so they kind of built their whole company into a profit-making company within a year with SEO and digital marketing. And so these guys became expert in it. And Shycart was one of the profit-making e-com company even before Monica. So everyone in the e-com sector knew Shycart and Uli and Vivek. And so they brought in their expertise of SEO, digital marketing, paid marketing, and all that into 60Plus, and that actually helps us a lot. People are searching for travel companion and they come to us. But people search for hospital admission companion or concierge service and they come to us. And so that their expertise in SEO and digital marketing helped here. Now, of course, Vivek is coding this, and he's been coding all his life, and he coded the whole website and the back end of, say, Shycart. So he's been doing what we do for 60Plus, our coding and things. So that's how it helped here. And yeah, Oli with this marketing, our networking and all that. So these are what we brought in with 60. That's the reason we think all the three of us are a perfect blend here.
Great.
So you mentioned like the two limitations, right? You need a stronger, a more senior team, and you need more money for the marketing. So which then brings me to the fundraising question. You are raising $500,000 US dollars. So the first question is, how much have you already received from that 500,000?
We've received the $100,000 from Accelerating Asia, and we are focusing on getting the $400,000 more. Literally after coming back from Accelerating Asia, during Accelerating Asia program, I didn't pitch to anyone at all. I literally stopped pitching. There were a lot of interesting things which happened, like this customer from PricewaterhouseCoopers wanted investing $100,000. One of my customer was AGM. AGM is additional general manager of Canara Bank, which is one of the biggest leading banks in India. He was the AGM for Canara Bank, and his sister was. And actually, he was talking to Uli, and he was doing all the service. And then suddenly he asked, "What is your revenue?" and all that. And he said, "I'm giving you an open line overdraft credit. You can come to my bank and take it for another $130,000." And so we have customers like this who are into the finance part, who's trying to give us money. And so except for these two commitments, I really don't have any much more. And so I need to raise another $200,000 more.
And what is the valuation at this point of time?
Like around 3 million. I'm still working on the valuation part. because all these people are like, this person from PricewaterhouseCoopers said, if you have any other investor and you're talking on the valuation with them, I'll go with the same valuation. And the 130,000 USD is on a overdraft. And so right now we have a $3 million valuation, but we're still working on it.
And I think one of the big questions that people want to know, especially angels, is in the long run, right? I mean, if you look at similar players from around the world or similar startups in the same space, what did you see the potential exit to be if an angel were to invest at this point of time?
The first one will be buyback from the founders, and the second one will be probably a next round of funding where they could exit. And the third I'm looking at is an IPO. At this point of time, I'm not looking to sell my company to a bigger player, or like say Apollo is coming up with home care. Now Apollo is one of the huge hospital chain in India. So say Apollo is coming in, or Reliance is coming up with, or Tata is wanting to buy me up. I'm not looking for a buyout at this point of time. I'm either looking at an IPO or a buyback for my investors, and the third point is the next round of investment they could exit.
Okay.
If we were just to summarize, you've got about 300,000 soft commit for your 500,000, so you've still got 200k remaining. What's the minimum ticket size that you're expecting from angel investors if they were to come in?
$50,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's all on a safe note, I would expect, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. And the if I'm remembering it correctly, the safe notes that come from that using the Accelerating Asia format, they have a maturity date, and I take it they've got a maturity date of 3 years as well?
Yes, they do. They do, and they come at a 2.5 million valuation cap.
Okay, that's good. Also, in terms of when I look at 60 Plus, right? I mean, it is a very people business. There are a lot of components that seem to me, as an outsider, it seems that there are a lot of moving parts to it. Like there is the parent, then you need to find a service provider. The service provider needs to go there, and there are things that could potentially go wrong within that. I've already discussed that. So then, in terms of what I find really interesting is the e-commerce component of what you have, and I think that has a lot of scope given what you and your other founders have done previously. So what else do you think could be automated where you could reduce the number of moving components or the human high-touch element of the business? Is there anything that could also be automated or productized?
Yes, I think this is something which we are actually very diligently working on now. The whole process, we want it to be automated. The only human connection is going to be when we get a service, one of our customer expert advisor is going to get connected with the customer and become their liaison officer. That is the only part we want to have it as a human touch, so that, like I previously told you, it's going to be a personal talk, the booking of the customer and assigning the vendor to them is going to be automated. It's almost already the same, it's going to be like, I don't know if Urban Company or Homage. So it's just going to be an app, and then you click, say I want a nurse on the 25th at evening 5 p.m. to the end of the month or 5 days. And all you have to do is do that and then say book. And then after 24 hours, they're going to get a verified service provider's address proof, ID proof, a degree certificate and everything else, or a pro-list verification certificate, which comes to Arasi saying this girl is going to go and take care of your grandmother for 5 days. So this part is going to be automated. And so in 24 hours, that is, you're going to book today and someone is starting tomorrow. Within the 24 hours, you're going to get a call from a customer or from our service provider, customer care executive, who's going to be licensed with you, who will be talking to you to understand more about your grandmother so that she can, give extra help or assist you with other things. So that is the only part which is going to be in a manual format. The rest is going to be automated, and almost half of it is already automated. Right now, we do the mapping. When we get a request, we do the mapping and we connect those people, but we want it to be automated like how it is working in Ola, Uber, or Urban Club or Urban Company. So that is how we want to do. And the e-commerce is already automated, because we have Shaikat Tycat is our e-com company, which Uli and Vivek ran, or are still running. And so because of that, we just use the whole component in our backend. And so once the order is given, it's a smooth flow. It just goes there, it goes to get delivered to them, and we get automated message. So the e-com part is already automated. The service part, we're working on it. That's the reason I'm trying to hire these technical people to expedite the process.
Yeah. In terms of like these pre-screened trained healthcare providers that are on the platform, how many do you have at present? Like, what's the total number of people who have gone through the entire process of a psychometric assessment and the police screening?
Of the 500, more than 150 of them have gone through both, because the police verification takes like nearly 1 to 2 months. And so of the 500, 150 of them have already got the police verification certificate. Another 150 are in the process of getting the certificate.
Yeah, because you mentioned I was saying you mentioned Homage, and I was just looking at them really quickly and looking at the kind of growth they have seen, the kind of valuation they have seen. I think it is very promising because for you, you're operating in a far larger market and a very unique market. And I think if you can pull it off, it is going to be as big or maybe probably larger than what they have achieved.
The difference between Homage and 60PlusIndia is Singapore is a very controlled country. They have a lot of compliances to follow, and they have a lot of rules and regulations. Whereas 60Plus is trying to do all this on our own without any limitations from the outside.
Okay. And also, earlier when you shared the team, I believe yourself, Oli, and your other co-founder, you do have other startups or other companies that you are part of. So the question is, at which point would you consider doing this full-time, or are you going to be hiring someone who's going to be managing it full-time? How do you see that evolving?
All the three of us are full-time here. I have a training institution which is not functioning as a profit company. It's become totally a non-profit organization which goes to government schools to teach about sexual abuse awareness for school kids. And so we do it, or I go and do that only on part-time basis when I have time. I have a set of friends who come along with me to do the teaching for government school kids. And so that is like completely like my pet project, I could say, or my non-profit company. And so my company has changed to that completely. I'm full-time with 60Plus. And Oli and Vivek, they have Shycart, but there is another operations director there who's taking care of Shycart completely. So these two guys are completely with 60Plus right now. They don't work for Shycart, even though our same office has both the Shycart of building and the 60Plus building. And so we are just see each other every day, and Shycart runs here, but Oli and Vivek are working full-time.
Got it. And beyond the fundraising, what other help do you need? For people who are watching this, how could they potentially contribute to 60Plus beyond the fund?
I would love to connect with more Indian diaspora expats. I would like to talk to them, understand how they are finding help for their parents, or what they need more for their parents, or what are the things they're missing, because a lot of people come to us asking for emergency care, and we've said no because we're not equipped for it. Literally every single customer, all the 1,000+ customers are asking for an emergency care. They say, if my mom calls you at 12 o'clock in the night or 2 o'clock in the night, I want you guys to help. I was like, I'll be glad to do that, but I'm not able to do it right now. And I haven't tried doing it. And so apart from the emergency care, I would like to talk to the diaspora to understand what they need, how we can improve ourselves, and whom do we have to reach out to as a marketing channel to get more diaspora in our place. Because I understand social media is there, but there should be other channels which these Indian diaspora community people are looking out for. Like say a grocery shop where they go often, or do they go to a temple often, or do they meet up in some event place often, things like that. Because in each city it's different way they connect. And again, Indian diaspora is so crazy that we have 101 gods, and so each of them go to a different temple, and so which is very famous in which city, which restaurant is famous, and so things like that. That those things will be very easier for us to get in touch with the community. That is what I'm actually looking at from the Indian diaspora people. And of course, funding. You guys like to be a part of this, or if they like helping senior citizens, if they like to give back to their parents or people who are as old as their parents, they can come and join us.
Okay. Thank you, Arasi, for joining us. We are very happy to have you on this episode with us. So you've heard from Arasi, you know about 60 Plus, you are aware of how much they're fundraising, you are aware of the impact that they are making for the Indian diaspora community to take care of this, of the aging parents back home. If you want to make an angel investment, or if you want to contribute and share this platform with the community, be sure to get in touch with Arasi. And if you enjoyed this episode, please do like, share, and leave your comments on what we should be asking the future founders that we're going to be interviewing on these series.
Thank you, Usman. Thank you, Razi, for this opportunity. I'm much obliged. You guys have been so kind to me from the beginning. And thanks a lot. I really wish this goes to many founders the same way that I enjoyed doing this. Thank you.
So thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode.